NFL news, Seahawks star wide receiver DK Metcalf has requested a trade away from Seattle, prefers to be dealt to a contending team, a source told Adam Schefter. The request came on the same day the Seahawks announced the release of fellow receiver Tyler Lockett in an unexpected move. Now, ESPN NFL analyst and Seahawks fan Mina Kimes with the real-time reaction posting on social media. Just fell to my knees in a CVS. Love that you were in CVS. One of my favorite stores. Mina joining us live now. Hey, Mina. Good morning. Thank you for being with us. A rough day for you, obviously. You're on the struggle bus at the pharmacy. What do you feel like is the best destination for DK?
Yeah, first of all, I actually was in a CVS that was not made up, and falling to your knees is the only way you can get someone's attention to get something there these days. I think the Seahawks should try to keep DK. I want to throw that out there. But as far as trade destinations, the team that I keep coming back to is the LA Chargers. For a couple of reasons. Whoever trades for him, need and cap space are important. DK Metcalf, you're not just trading for DK Metcalf. He only has a year left. You're trading for him with the intention of signing him to a large contract. That's why, by the way, you got to this point with Seattle. My suspicion is they don't want to pay him anywhere close to the top of the wide receiver market money. The Chargers fit both of those parameters. First, from a need perspective, Ladd McConkey was a home run last year in the draft. He is fantastic, and I would argue he is better than a wide receiver too. However, he does his best work in the slot. They still need a big-bodied boundary X receiver who can win outside the numbers and downfield. Metcalf would be a perfect pairing with Ladd McConkey. Second, cap space. The Chargers have over $90 million to spend. There were other needs on that roster. You saw they released Joey Bosa, so edge is a need. Interior offensive line is need. They're picking 17th in the draft. It is my belief that this is not a particularly strong draft for receivers. It's also not a particularly strong free agent class. So if I'm the Chargers, spend that money on a proven player, and then you can take shots elsewhere at edge and offensive line.
First of all, I've said this numerous times. Mina is my queen. I will never disagree with anything that she says. Mina's takes are based in reality, research. Mine are just based off vibes. So with that being said, is it okay to say, Mina, that I think the team that probably needs him the most is the one trying to trade him? Like, there's clearly a need, right, with letting Tyler Lockett go, and actually, like, they do have some cap space now after letting Sadu. But since he wants out, and that's not going to happen, let me give you my pipe dream, and it's completely selfish as a Broncos fan. But I would love to see him in Denver, simply because I think Courtland Sutton has been super solid, but I think he is a super solid number two. I also think he fits really well into that Sean Payton offense and what he likes to do. I think a guy like DK Metcalf could be a huge upgrade. However, I'll throw a name out here for you. If financials weren't in play, and of course they are, but if we didn't have to worry about financials, Buffalo. I think he accomplishes what they were trying to accomplish by trading for Amari Cooper. He's that big physical guy for them. I think that their receiving core over-indexed and really outperformed probably what people expected. But I do think that, not to pick on a guy like Dalton Kincaid, but when it came to the end of that game, a surefire guy who you can go to, a reliable and true number one, I feel like he'd work there. Again, cap space is definitely an issue, even if you get Von Miller out of there, so I don't see that happening. But then my final one, Stephen A., before I pass it on to you is, in terms of the team that need him the most, and by the way, not a contender. I always love when they say he'd prefer to be traded to a contender as opposed to what? The basement? Yeah, right. No one says that, right? Like, send me to the worst team. I want to go there. But if that wasn't in play, the team that needs him the most is the Patriots. They have a ton of money. He is an instant upgrade. They do have a quarterback, and he'd have a little bit of runway there. So I think there's the team that probably need him the most.
Oh, damn, L, this ain't Sports Center. You gave about 5 teams. I mean, my Lord.
3.
I mean, where's the best things? You gave about 5 teams, okay? They said potential trade picks. They got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Packers, the Patriots, the Cowboys. That's what they said, potential trade picks. Me personally, my answer to this question would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, because God knows they need a receiver, okay? They definitely need a
quarterback.
It's yes, but they're not talking. But remember, Rooney and them came out and said, they anticipate that they're going to keep Russell or Justin Fields, one of them. as opposed to going out and getting somebody. So since that's what you're intending to do, then the next best thing is to make sure you expand those options at the wideout spot rather than relying on a very talented but temperamental George Pickens, because that's something that's been problematic for them. When we look at DK Metcalf in his 6 years in the National Football League, we know what he can do, but we also know that he's been reliable. He hasn't run a distraction or anything like that. He comes ready. We appreciate that. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're in desperate need of that, okay? He was going to be like 25 million cap hit, Mina? I think only Devontae Adams, and before CeeDee Lamb restructured his deal, he was like third in the list. But now, in terms of cap hit, he'd have been the largest dude at the wideout spot. You want Seattle, you don't want any parts of that. I got it. They clearly, it's a situation where you like Geno Smith, but you see, they let go of Tyler Lockett. They don't mind DK talking to somebody else. You got to wonder what the hell is going on in Seattle right now. I think that if you DK, you want to go someplace where there's some level of stability, where you could be that dude, because he'd be in Pittsburgh as the likely number one because he's more trustworthy, dare I say, than a Pickens. I think you explore that if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. All right, we've got some other big-name wide receivers that are available in addition to DK Metcalf. We got Cooper Kupp potentially via trade, Chris Godwin, Stephon Diggs, and then obviously, as we mentioned, the recently released Tyler Lockett and Devontae Adams all heading to free agency. So, Mina, I'll ask you this. Which team needs a wide receiver the most right now?
Well, it's the Chargers. I already kind of outlined the reasons why, and then I would throw the Patriots, who Elle mentioned, into there. But I'm going to mention another team that didn't come up when we were talking about trade destinations that I also think needs to be in the DK Metcalf market, and that's Green Bay. We saw last year really the limits of their approach, which is we don't have a number one wide receiver. We have a bunch of really good young receivers, which is fine until it isn't fine, until you need a guy who can go get you a bucket in the postseason, and you really felt the absence of Christian Watson, who's been good when he's healthy. He's kind of like a young DK Metcalf in some ways, but he just hasn't been healthy for them. This is not how the Packers do business, by the way. They don't do big signings in free agency. They don't do big trades. They love to draft and develop. But my feeling is they need to depart from their normal way this offseason to get another leap from Jordan Love. I think they should absolutely be on the phone with Seattle, and they might actually have not only the draft pick to send them, but a receiver to throw in, which I suspect Seattle is interested in too.
All right, we'll leave it there. Mina will.
So you got to think he'll get a big payday. He's only 27 years old. I think we forget that. There are two teams in particular that I feel like should be going all in, sending him cookies, sending him flowers, edible. He's young. The second option I like for him is one that I like for Devontae Adams as well. But I could see the Chargers making a move here. The playoff loss in Houston, what did that do? What an emotional day yesterday. Okay, like two of your stalwarts releasing Lockett. And just moments later, having it break, with DK and all of that. Releasing Lockett's crazy. It's tough. It's business. I understand that. The first thing I thought of was Jackson Smith and Jigba. You take these two consistent guys out of there. Hamilton, I don't know. How did I see this coming at Super Bowl to ask him this?
I really don't know. You were like, You're a little bit psychic, I think, with some of this stuff, and
psycho,
you got ahead
psychic.
of it. It's like all the psychs, you got them all covered. But yeah, you were ahead of it. You saw this coming. I honestly I was surprised to hear this yesterday. I know you weren't, based on what you were thinking heading into this. Yeah,
I don't even know why, but the truth is that JSN is like very young, 22. Just drafted. He was drafted in Kansas City. We met him in
front of the whole team, so I'm a vet now, and that's what it is.
That sounds crazy, don't it?
I know.
What was the context to that? When did he say that?
He said in the team meeting room, and it made me smile inside.
End of the season or when? When did you earn that? What did you do?
I
did handling business. That's all you got to do.
I feel like I'll be in Seattle for a long time, and you never know, though, but I feel like I'm going to be in Seattle for a long time, and, when it's my time to, lead, and, I'm going to lead.
We're in for a huge 2025 from JSN. That's all I'll say for now. And congrats to Tyler Lockett on what has been an incredible Seattle Seahawks career. So consistent, doing everything the right way. No one's ever said a less than sterling thing about him as a teammate was impact. I think one of the hardest, I was just talking to Jordan, our voice of our social here at Up and Adams, and I was just talking about how hard it is to show up and be consistent. It's the hardest thing to do, I think, to show up every day and bring max effort or the same effort. And that's like Tyler Lockett. Like he's in that club of consistency, game after game, quarter after quarter, year over year. So love Tyler Lockett, wishing him the best in what he has planned ahead. I'm sure his agents are on the phone figuring all of that out. Up next, we are on a journey to meet the best of the best in this draft. All SEC pass rusher from the University of Arkansas, Landon Jackson, is joining us in a kitchen that I never cook in, as Matthew Hamilton is here as well. We got a big show. I'm excited to talk to Landon, meet him, get to know, put some faces to the lore of the verts and I was hearing things like high motor thrown around. I was this in the morning meeting. I was hearing things just about like his athleticism. The word violent was used by our producer Cal Filson to describe him. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, he definitely plays with an edge. We love a high motor. He's explosive. This is a good pass rushing class. If you like defense, if you like pass rushers, this is a great class, and Landon is near the top of that list for sure.
And I do love those pass rushers, love words like high motor. You loved this tweet. Why don't you tell me, what did Charles Omenihu tweet? Because yesterday was insane.
Yeah, he tweeted, bro, the NFL acting like the NBA today. And it really was. It was just, as far as the drama, the news, the constant action that had nothing to do with the actual sport being played. This was as big a news day as you could have. So much going on. And it seemed like every time things started to calm down, something else happened. So excited to dig into that today, too.
What's the latest on our guy, Charles Omenihu? We caught up with him in Austin. He was gracious enough to give us his time ahead of a vacation. He keeps tweeting things. He's that's not the only, he's tweeting about we're so close. I was seeing this morning, like, is he returning to the Chiefs?
Listen, there's a shot. They freed up all that cap space with Tooney. It sounds like, talking to some of the guys from Kansas City Sports Network yesterday, it sounds like Mahomes is probably going to rework his deal a little bit to free up some space. They're going to sign Trey Smith to a long-term deal, which will free up even more space. So they're going to have some money to work with to maybe keep some of these guys like Charles, like Justin Reed, like Nick Bolton in the building. And obviously they need to add a little bit too and figure out that left tackle situation.
They got to figure out that offensive line because they got a guy in the division who's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history who just re-signed, Maxx Crosby. Not news to Patrick Mahomes' ears. Max staying in Vegas for the long haul. This is a beautiful thing. You can tell it meant a lot to him. But you can tell this should mean a lot to Raiders fans. He molded over. He could have bounced. People he could have bounced. He did not. He stays 3 years, $106.5 million, 91.5 guaranteed. As I said, highest paid non-quarterback in history, extends his deal. Very excited for him, for his family, securing the bag. He has more than earned it. I don't even balk at those numbers. I don't even know if that's enough money for Maxx Crosby. And I'm very excited to see what this era looks like with Pete Carroll and Tom Brady. I do think that he wants, obviously we know that he wants to win a Super Bowl. I think he has faith that the Raiders can get there. I think he believes in the new era, and all Raiders fans, culture, all of it should sort of be following his lead on that. Here's what he said back at Super Bowl about his approach to the decision and what his future held.
I've had the opportunity to sit with front office and ownership and head coach and GM. Like I've been having those conversations and continue to have that as far as what's the plan moving forward. Because I have one body and I can only play for so long. And the way I play, I'm gonna play with reckless abandon. You know what I mean? I want to be a part of winning in a culture that is about winning. And that's all that matters to me. At the end of the day, I want to be in the Hall of Fame, and I want to go, and I want to.
And you deserve it. You shouldn't feel bad about doing what you want to do.
No, absolutely.
And I love that for you.
I don't feel bad about it. I want to be a Super Bowl champ and a Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
I mean, let's go is right. He could have, as I said, he could have forced his way out. He could have gotten this type of deal literally anywhere else. He said he didn't want to go to the Chiefs. That fight was all over Twitter. He wants to earn it. That was important to him. So his priority is winning, but not it's sort of given to me that I'll be playing in the meaningful games in the winter into January and February. He's that incredible. He's rare breed, rare aura, like rare DNA. And I think the fact that he signs this deal tells me that he believes that's the direction that this team is headed. I do believe it's the priority. He's not wasting his prime years in a situation where he can't win, baby. And there's a lot that needs to be figured out in Vegas. Of course, the starting quarterback. I wonder in signing that deal, Hamilton, and what I know that they don't want to maybe hear from their star player, and they've got the top 10 pick. They've got $95 million in cap space. I would hope that, like, before I sign the ink, I'd be like, I'd like to give my 2 cents in this. Like, I'd like to be involved. I'd like to just tell you who I like. Would you guys hear me out for 5 minutes? Like, I imagine he's earned that as a lifelong player and such a huge, future legend, probably future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I would think so. Hearing what he had to say and just kind of the uncertainty with that roster right now, you would think that would have to be a part of it. And he made his pitch to Aaron Rodgers yesterday to come join him in Vegas. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on as well.
That would be wild. Don't know I've been saying that all along. Actually, I said that Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, it's like too cute, but part of me thinks it's like too cute not to do. I think like I don't know. It's so interesting. Then you have like the Tom Brady recruiting, working, not working, effective. Did it help with this Maxx Crosby situation? We'll have to talk to Max and hear what he has to say about it. But I'm sure he's happy to be secured. I mean, he called his like family, his daughter and his wife, his universe. I'm just like, I'm such a huge Maxx Crosby fan. We'll see. They've got to make them right, like really a lot of the right moves over the next month, or I would be, I'd be afraid of Maxx Crosby. I think he's lighting a fire under everybody in a much needed way. So he's sticking around, but it looks like another,